Hello guys, welcome back. Now today, I'm going to be predicting the Pacific Division standings. Now this is the fourth part of a four-part series where I look at every single NHL division and predict where each team will stand. I've already done the Atlantic Division, I've already done the Metropolitan Division, I last did the Central Division, and now we're finally finishing up with the Pacific Division. Now with the Pacific Division, while I don't think it's the best division in the world, I think it's far from it, this division can really go a lot of different ways. I can see a team that I put in last being competitive for a wildcard spot. Really, a lot of these teams could be in the mix for it, and of course that's what makes the NHL so fun. But again, before I get into my predictions, let me know your thoughts down below. Where do you think these teams will place, and who do you see winning the Pacific Division? At number 8, I see the Vancouver Canucks finishing this regular season with 64 points, being really alive for the Jack Hughes race. To me, I feel like some things will improve in Vancouver, but I just don't see it really being too much to where they're going to be even close to a good team. The Vancouver Canucks, on paper right now, I feel like they're just a very flawed team in pretty much every single area. While this preseason, I don't think that preseason really counts. I do think it matters, and I think we're starting to see what Vancouver will be this next NHL season, which is not good. They have played terribly, and to me, this team won't gel at all. It won't be good on paper, and it just doesn't have the skill to compete in any way. While there will be some bright spots on that offense, probably Elias Pettersson will be playing on the power play, will be having a decent season. Bo Horvat likely to have another great season. Besser likely to have a full, healthy season. There are some good things for Vancouver, and especially for their future. It's looking pretty decent for them, but right now they kind of stopgap some of that youth with guys like Roussel, Jay Beagle, and to that, while it might make your team better in the now, it might get you a little bit more points, I feel like all in all the team will be just a little bit boring on the offense. They won't be able to score many goals. And oh boy, that defense. I'm just going to cut it to you straight, Chief. This is not it. This defense is terrible. They got some decent guys like Edler, Tanev, but really, this defense is not that great. You got a couple of okay guys, but it's just not enough to be competitive in that Pacific Division. And with goaltending, we got Jacob Markstrom and Anders Nielsen, two okay guys at best. So really, right now, I don't feel like the future is there yet for the Vancouver Canucks. I don't think this is the Vancouver Canucks that will make the playoffs in a couple of years. I don't think that they're quite there yet. They're still stuck in that rebuild and looking to be a lottery team and hopefully in the race for that Jack Hughes, for maybe a Capo Caco. That's probably their best thing going for them right now. Honestly, I don't see this team competing. I see almost every other team competing, possibly, but not Vancouver. At number 7, I have the Anaheim Ducks with 74 points on the season. That's a big drop-off from what they had last season. And with Anaheim, I feel like there will be some good things for them, but ultimately, I think it'll just come down to a few flaws in their team in general. The main problem I see them having is scoring goals. There was a little bit of a problem there for them last season as well. Of course, they had Corey Perry going out for 5 months. That's not a huge problem with them, mostly because Corey Perry was not that great last season. That still is a solid player on the wing, though, for them. That is out. So, that isn't that player getting out. I feel like Getzlaf being healthy will be key for them. And some of their older guys, like Kessler, he'll be out especially as well. I love Rickard Rakell. He's a beast. I feel like he can be a first-line guy for them. No problem there. They got some solid guys like Andre Kasha, Silverberg. They've got a decent top 6 when healthy, but that's it. They aren't really healthy right now, and going into the season, we could see some more injuries to go along with that. And that defense is amazing. That top 4 is fantastic. Cam Fowler, Hampus Lindholm, you got Brandon Montois, Josh Manson. Those are some fantastic guys on the Anaheim Ducks roster right now, but that depth is kind of worrying. You got Andre Suster, who is pretty meh. You got Luke Shen, who is Luke Shen. Then you got Corbanian Holzer, who is Corbanian Holzer. So I like that top 4 a lot, but that depth on the defense at least is a little bit shaky for me. On the goaltending side of things, they should be fine. I mean, John Gibson is one of the best young goaltenders in the league right now, if not one of the best goaltenders in the league right now. Ryan Miller is fantastic backup. He was amazing last season. There are some concerns. At age 38, we'll see what happens with him for his future, but right now, that goaltending tandem is one of the best in the league, and I feel like at least they have that goaltending locked down. But as I said before, they got a solid team on paper, but to me, I feel like it'll ultimately come down to them not being able to score enough goals. I do like that defense core. I love John Gibson, but I feel like at the end of the day, they will not be able to score enough goals to keep up the wins and to keep up in that race to where I see them making the playoffs. I just don't see that happening unless some guys really step up throughout those key injuries. I see the Anaheim Ducks likely missing the playoffs. At number 6, I have the LA Kings with 88 points on the season. That's a little bit of a drop-off from last season where they made the playoffs, but then ended up swept by the Vegas Golden Knights. To me, I think the Los Angeles Kings are a decent team on paper, but I think some things will fall short to where they won't be able to make the playoffs. To me, that offense has some flaws. There are some solid, very solid guys in that offense. Of course, guys like Kopitar, who even at age 31 had one of his best offensive seasons last season. He's a great guy, and while I do think he will decline a little bit, I think he'll still be up there. One of the main guys that I think will contribute a lot will be Jeff Carter. I mean, even at age 33, he was injured last season. If he can stay healthy, that'll be big for them. Of course, they got Eli Kovalchuk in that offseason, so he's going to be big for them for that offense, hopefully. And for them, they're banging on a guy for Kovalchuk to be an impact player every single night. They got some fantastic young depth like Adrian Kempe, Alex Lafalo. You got some great depth there. Toffoli will likely bounce back next season. They got some good talent on that team, but ultimately their star players on the forward group at least are very, very much after their prime. So if they can't stay healthy, I do see that being a problem for them. On the defensive side of things, I think it's very solid. Of course, you got Drew Doughty, who is still pretty much in his prime at age 28. That's fantastic. You still got Drew Doughty, that #1 defenseman for you. Jake Muzzin, who is at age 29, is very good as well. You got Alec Martinez, who had a very down year last season, but I do expect him to be a lot better next season. You got Dion Phaneuf, the goof, right there. I still think he's decent, but he is aging. You got some decent depth guys like Forbert and Daniel Brickley. Overall, the defense is solid, and I think they will allow a lot less goals than their opponents because they're just built that way. I think the defense will be solid, but again, it's about contributing those goals, which might be a problem for them. On the goaltending side of things, they're going to be very, very good. Jonathan Quick, you guys know he's my favorite goaltender in the world, and even at age 32, I still think he's going to stop a lot of pucks in a lot of different areas. Their backup, it has some questions for me. Jack Campbell, who was the, I think, 13th overall, something like that, by the Dallas Stars a few years back. He's made his way back at age 26 and is kind of becoming a resurgence. He's played great in the AHL the past couple of years. It's all about putting that back together, and the LA Kings are banging him to be their next backup this next season. Now, these two next picks will probably be the most controversial picks throughout any of these divisions, so you've been warned. At number 5, I have the Edmonton Oilers with 94 points on the season. And no, I do not predict them to make the playoffs, but I predict them to be the best team to miss the playoffs, getting 3 points behind number 4. And for me, I think the Edmonton Oilers will not have a resurgence of a season because I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but I think they'll be much, much better, and towards the second half, could be one of the best teams in the NHL. With the Edmonton Oilers, it's been a roller coaster of emotions for the past couple of years. Of course, 2 years ago, they won the division, they got to the second round, and it was looking fantastic. It looked like the future was bright for them. It was looking to be a future dynasty. Connor McDavid, and this past season, nothing was gelling. It seemed like a completely different team, and it just seemed like the team was a disaster. For this next NHL season, will we see more of the disaster season, or will we see more of the first win the Pacific Division season? And to me, I kind of see a mix there. I'm just going to be plain honest. This forward group does not get as much attention as I think it deserves. Of course, you got Connor McDavid, who is Connor McDavid. He's going to score a ton of points in this next NHL season. I expect him to score a lot more points as he gets the 3-time Art Ross Trophy. I expect him to lead the league in points. But that's not it. I think Leon Draisaitl will also have another great season. Nugent Hopkins, I think, could be around what he was last season, which was great. Ryan Strome could improve. You got some solid guys like Tobias Reeder, who are solid. Guys like Jesse Puljujarvi, who I will expect to break out and have very solid seasons. They got some good youth. I mean, Ty Ratty has been blowing it up in preseason so far. So there are some interesting storylines with this youth, and with the talent they're going through for the forward lines, it really is going to be an interesting group throughout the whole season. And of course, the defense does concern me, and that's why I didn't put them in the playoffs, because if that defense was a little bit better, I probably would have, to be honest. This defense, it is lackluster. Of course, you got Andrej Sekera, who is going to be injured for quite a while. He was okay last season when he played, really wasn't what he was advertised as. Of course, in my opinion, their number one defenseman in Oscar Klefbom was injured throughout the whole season. He had I think it was a broken leg or something. He got surgery on it and was playing through it. It was just such a dumb situation, but he will be healthy for this next NHL season. He's ready to go, and I feel like this next NHL season, he can play like the number one defenseman that he did 2 years ago. Darnell Nurse was also very, very underrated last season. We could see him make an even better jump this next season. You got Adam Larson, who's okay. You got Chris Russell, who's okay. Honestly, the defense isn't that great, but I'm looking at those two young guys in Nurse and Klefbom to take big steps to be healthy and to lead that blue line into being a lot faster and to be hopefully being a lot more steady. And with the goaltending, this is where I see the most improvement out of any part of this team right now. With Cam Talbot, he was absolutely trash last season. While the defense was not giving him too many favors, he was terrible last season. I think he'll be a lot better. Even at age 31, there are some concerns, but this is a contract year for him, so he is going to want to play a lot better. I expect a good season from Cam Talbot, not MVP, not Vezina winning Cam Talbot, but I do expect a very solid season from it. And while I know it may be controversial, I know nobody will really like this prediction, I believe it will happen. I believe the Edmonton Oilers will be close to the playoffs, but will just barely miss. Now for my second controversial take in this video, I predict the Arizona Coyotes to get the 4th spot in the Pacific Division with 97 points. And if you've seen the Central Division predictions video, you know that I predicted one team to make the playoffs, which automatically makes the Arizona Coyotes into the 2019 NHL playoffs. And I know what you may be thinking, Arizona? Yeah, I'm hopefully not as crazy as you may think. I'm just going to go out and say that last season was a total anomaly from them. I see them being a lot better, a lot more consistent throughout the whole year this next season. I don't see them being anywhere near close to losing 10 straight to start out. While their second half was very, very good, and I was very, very impressed from it, I feel like we'll kind of see them transition that second half into this next NHL season. I see them being a consistent team, being around that race for a long time, and being a very good team throughout it. For one, I really, really love that Alex Galchenyuk trade for Arizona. It gives them a lot of options there to maybe put Galchenyuk as a center, maybe put him as a winger, play him really wherever they want. They got guys like Derek Stepan, who will be a bona fide center for them if needs be. They got some solid depth there, and I think they will bring up some of the youth. I feel Dylan Strome will have a very solid season. He'll label his bust marker out of there. He'll be very solid. And some of the youth that has been coming up through the ranks for Arizona, I think we'll start to see that, and we'll start to see that in strides. I think this team will be one of the fastest, one of the quickest teams in the NHL, and we'll start to see that as they make the playoffs. I think that defense might just be the most underrated defense in the entire league. We did see some bad seasons from some players, most notably Hjalmarsson was terrible. I feel like we will start to see a lot of these guys finally transition into great years for the Arizona Coyotes. I mean, Eric Larson is going to be fantastic. Of course, I have him on the back of my jersey right now. Goligoski is going to be very solid for them. Demir is going to be great for them as a puck mover for them. Hjalmarsson is going to be a lot better defensively next season, trust me. And guys like Chichurin, who have kind of not really disappointed so far, but I feel like Chichurin will have a great season, and we'll finally see him break out into the defenseman that he was drafted to be. And of course, honestly, the biggest reason that I predict Arizona Coyotes to make the playoffs, a little guy called Antti Raanta. Last season, he only played about 40 games, but was absolutely Vezina candidate during those 40 games. If he played a full season and played like he did, he would probably be a Vezina type guy, and the Arizona Coyotes would be a lot better for it. If Antti Raanta can be nearly as good as he was last season, the Arizona Coyotes are making the playoffs, and it's not even a doubt about it. And Raanta was fantastic last season, and if he can transition that into next season, look out for the Arizona Coyotes, and I mean that. If this team, for the most part, stays healthy, they will make the 2019 NHL playoffs. You better bet on it. At number 3 in my Pacific Division predictions, I have the Vegas Golden Knights with 99 points on the season. It's not a huge drop-off, but a sizable one. I don't see the Vegas Golden Knights being quite as good next season as they were last season, and while I do still see them being a very good team, I see a little bit of a drop-off and a little bit of a handing of the torch to a different team that we'll talk about at number 1. It's going to be really interesting to see how Vegas works their magic throughout all of this season. With William Karlsson, that is the big question for me. Can he stay consistent? Can he prove that he wasn't a one-year wonder? I don't see him scoring 40 goals again. I do see him being very solid, though. I do see him being a very good guy. Of course, they got that. Paul Stastny in the offseason, the free agency. They got Max Pacioretty, who honestly is going to be a huge boost for their team for that scoring depth, and he'll probably bounce back with Vegas and have a very solid season. I'm just a little bit worried about that defense right now. Of course, you got Nate Schmidt, who was suspended for 20 games to start off the regular season, so they're going to have a, honestly, top 2 defenseman for them out for 20 games. That is going to be sizable for them. We will see them try to make up those games where they lose him. It will be a tough ride without Nate Schmidt, so I'm kind of worried about that. Of course, you got Shea Fedor, who's fantastic. He is going to probably have to lead the charge now with Nate Schmidt gone, but you do have some worries and concerns about that defense overall. With that goaltending, Marc-Andre Fleury is fantastic, and hopefully he can stay healthy throughout the whole season this time around. I expect Malcolm Subban to be very, very good in that backup position for the Vegas Golden Knights. And Fleury, I don't think he will be as good as he was last season, but a very, very good starter nonetheless. But in my opinion, that Nate Schmidt suspension really hurts them overall. That offense, I will have to make up for the lost defense and possibly the lost goaltending. Honestly, I could see things improving in Vegas, but right now I see them dropping. I see some other teams surpassing them. At number 2 in the Pacific Division, I predict the Calgary Flames to finish with 102 points, getting the 2nd spot in the Pacific Division. I like a lot of guys in that offense. Of course, we got Johnny Gaudreau, Sean Monahan, James Neal, who was a big add throughout the NHL offseason. You got Mikael Backlund, who's going to be a fantastic two-way guy as well. Matthew Tkachuk, who is one of the best young guys in the NHL. I don't care what anybody says. Honestly, that offense has some nice folds to it. There are some good defensive guys and some good depth there after they've added some guys in this offseason. The defense is also one of the best in the league. You got Giordano, Noah Hannafin, TJ Brody, Mark Stone. You got Hamonic as well. There are some very solid guys on the defense, and while I think it's a little bit more top-heavy, the top 4 ain't bad either. Honestly, that defense is going to stop a lot of things, and hopefully they're a lot better next season. They didn't have the best year last season, so we're going to look for some bounce-back performances, mainly from a guy like Travis Hamonic. I do have some concerns about that goaltending, though. Mike Smith, at age 36, can he really put up the numbers that he has before? He wasn't the greatest with Calgary last season, and at age 36, I don't know if he'll really improve. And with John Gillies in the backup position, he hasn't looked great in the preseason so far. So honestly, the goaltending is probably the weakest spot about Calgary Flames right now, and honestly, that might be the thing that detriments their season, but I still think the offense will provide a lot of depth scoring, and the defense will be good enough to hopefully stop a lot of pucks. At number 1 in the Pacific Division, I have the San Jose Sharks with 117 points in the season. That's right, winning the President's Trophy throughout the best team in the NHL. I feel like they're going to be fantastic, and with that Erik Karlsson trade, they're going to get even better. Now, just to clarify, I made these predictions before Erik Karlsson was a Shark, so I don't know how to feel. Even if I made these predictions before Erik Karlsson was a Shark, I think we're just going to go with it. Now, we're going to start with this forward group, and while I might be the weakest part of their team, it really is still fantastic. You got great guys like Logan Couture, Joe Pavelski is going to be as great as ever, Evander Kane, who was a lethal with this team when he was traded from the Buffalo Sabres to the San Jose Sharks. You got Joe Thornton, who is questionable healthy, but it's still great. Timo Meier is fantastic. Don Scoy, LeBlanc is fantastic. Overall, that forward group is fantastic. It was very underrated last season. There was a lot of youth, and they got a great blend of that youth and that oldness, which will compete very, very well in those playoffs. And while I said it in my Central Predictions video, I think Nashville still has the best defense. I think that adding Erik Karlsson might just make the San Jose Sharks number 2. Brent Burns and Erik Karlsson. That's your number one and your number 2. It's just absolutely insane. Marc-Andre Vlasic is your number 3 defenseman. That's fantastic. You got great guys like Brendan Dillon. You got Justin Braun. Honestly, that defense is just loaded now with Erik Karlsson, and honestly, Martin Jones will not have that many pucks to stop. On the note of Martin Jones, let's look at the goaltending, and if you've watched my Vezina predictions video, you know that I predicted Martin Jones to win the Vezina Trophy, and that was before Erik Karlsson was a Shark, so I think you can have an even easier job with less shots, but having a high save percentage. I predict a great regular season from him. We haven't really seen that before. He is more of a playoff goaltender, but I do expect to see a good regular season from him, as the San Jose Sharks are likely a very good team. And I could gush for hours and hours about San Jose and what they've been able to accomplish in the last few years with their team that they built and the trades that they've made. All I gotta know is this is a fantastic team, and they'll likely be either 1 or 2 in the Pacific Division, and let's be honest, if they're number 2, it will be a pretty big disappointment. But of course, I predict San Jose to win the Pacific Division, so I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about the Pacific Division? What do you think about the teams, and where do you think they'll end up, and who do you expect to win the Pacific Division in 2019? So that's going for today, guys. If you guys enjoy, make sure you like and subscribe. Again, tell me down below your predictions for the Pacific Division. Next video will likely be the playoff predictions. Those will be fun. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.